Okay guys, new topic, Ryan on Gaming. What do we got here? This one is from Kangaroo1. He said a whole bunch of stuff in the beginning, but down at the bottom he says, I was wondering if you thought that Final Fantasy 15 had a chance to ever turn out to be profitable. The game is in development since 2006, has restarted at least 2 times from scratch, has changed multiple times in marketing waves, got a demo that will be updated, got its own engine developed to run on, etc. With all the money to pay for devs, invested in massive marketing, delays, R&D, communication, etc. Could it be possible that this game ever makes a profit? Even if it sells millions, I have trouble thinking that it could, and I'm just thinking that they want to finish it to make up at least for a decent part of their loss. Thanks if you read this. Have a good day. Can't wait for the new content. Thank you so much for being a viewer of this channel, always watching, and thanks for your awesome topic. This is a great topic because this guy gets it, right? This guy gets game development, games industry, things like that. This is a really brain-picking topic. Really good question, and he's totally right on a number of things. The game's been in development for a very long time. They've started a new engine for this thing. You got to pay developers for all this stuff, all this work. Will this game ever actually turn a profit? Now, it's gotten to the point where a new generation have come in and they don't even realize that Final Fantasy 15 was actually Final Fantasy Versus 13 on PlayStation 3, announced back in 2006, and we've been waiting all this damn time. This is one of those PS3 games where PS3 owners were like, hey, I bought a PS3 just for this game. And realistically, this is a long-term purchase where it's like, hey, you bought a PS3, now you gotta buy a PS4 to play this game. So yeah, it's definitely like a huge thing that Square Enix has invested a lot of money into, and that's the thing, is they've invested so much money into, so are they going to see their money back? And I think the best answer for this is, even if they don't, it's more of a long-term thing, clearly, because one thing you got to look at is that Final Fantasy 15 is likely not going to be just set in stone. Final Fantasy 15, that's it. Next game is completely new and completely original. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, like, what are you talking about, Ryan? Of course that's going to be the case. It's Final Fantasy. Usually, typically, Final Fantasy games are reserved in their own right, and they're completely new from scratch and everything, and blah, 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 blah. But the thing about game development is, when you create a new engine, that engine is more than likely going to be used for later games, for other games, for the next Final Fantasy. So to get that out of the way right off the bat, you've already jump-started a big portion of later development for other games. This is something that a lot of developers do on new console generations, specifically on the PlayStation 3. I mean, this happened for so many of Sony's developers to get a new engine running, and then this is what helped jumpstart them. So once they finally got their first games off the ground, like, Resistance or Uncharted or MotorStorm, once they got all that stuff off the ground, they were able to churn out another game much more quickly. So that's the thing, is that once you get an engine going, you definitely have a big portion of, the game development out of the way. Of course, it's still, game development is a very big, long stretch, and there's still lots to do, but you definitely get a good chunk out of it out of the way. Another thing is that once you got the engine done, and you build, like, assets. Now, assets could be, like, textures, trees, poles, literally anything you can think of, right? Anything that's inside of a game is considered like an asset. Art style, art direction, pre-rendered models, things like that, animations, anything you can think of. If it's built and it's ready to go, that's an asset that you can easily, load up into a program and kind of modify to look different in your next game. So once you've got that done, once you've got Final Fantasy 15 done, shipped, and sold, and it's on the market, even if it doesn't make profit, it's certainly set a pretty big template for what Square Enix is going to do in the future, which is a lot of their other games. Now, they just announced, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Tetsuya Nomura, the game director, he's doing all sorts of projects. I mean, you got to figure this engine and these assets are going to be used throughout a number of games. Yeah, I mean, even if the game does sell millions, which it likely will, I mean, it's Final Fantasy 15 for crying out loud, I don't know if they'll turn a profit, especially, like, you mentioned R&D, research and development. That's something a lot of people always overlook when it comes to the business side of things. I mean, they've definitely invested a lot of money into this thing. We don't know, of course, how much money they've invested, so there's really no way to even know for sure if they're going to turn a profit. I mean, the thing is, a lot of big multi-million-dollar games have a really tough time turning profit. One big case, because they were so vocal about it, was Crystal Dynamics, and of course Square Enix published it, the new Tomb Raider. that game got a lot of press because it was announced like, you know, oh, we sold 2 million copies, 3 million copies, 4 million copies, and they still had announced that they never turned a profit. I'll probably display like articles or something showing you the actual numbers. I can't remember them offhand, but I believe it took them like 5, 6 million copies of that game to finally turn a profit. And it took them a long time, like at least like a year or something after launch for the game to finally turn a profit, and then the definitive editions definitely helped them. But you can see that it takes a lot of copies of a game to finally turn profit. We don't know the budget of Final Fantasy 15, but I'm going to assume it's much bigger than what Tomb Raider was. I'm going to assume, yeah, this game is going to have a pretty tough time turning profit. So it's definitely a long-term thing for Square Enix. Once they get this game finally out and shipped, it's not a matter of, you know, making up for lost money or trying to take a chunk out of the money you lost, but rather it's a long-term vision thing. We've got all this stuff out of the way. Now we can pump out another Final Fantasy. We can apply certain things and you know, developer techniques and everything and our workforce to other games and everything, and we can get titles out more quickly, and we can hopefully turn a profit overall as a business. So that's really the most important thing. You can have certain projects lose money, but if the entire business of Square Enix is going to be turning profit, then that's really the most important thing. Certainly it helps that all your projects are making money, but you can afford a loss or two if overall the company's doing well. And I think that's what Square Enix really focused on right now, is turning a profit in total. We got the new CEO doing a lot of great things recently. They're doing a lot of great projects. They're doing what fans finally want. So I'm really excited for what Square is doing right now, and I really hope that they do turn a profit, because I want that company to stick around. Thanks for the topic, Kangaroo1. That was a really awesome topic. That was like a really good... I read that topic and I was like, ooh, yeah, I'm totally doing this topic. That was like a 9 out of 10 topic. If I'm going to be rating topics, that one was definitely a 9 out of 10. Not to say that other topics were like bad, but certainly that guy was hitting some pretty high chords. Which means I've now turned this into a musical metaphor instead of a ratings metaphor, and at this point I'm pretty much done with metaphors, and I want to move on to recording the next video, because I'm going to be recording a few of these tonight. It's actually 2 in the morning right now, which is usually whenever I do these videos, is I record them like in the middle of the night, because I work during the day. That's the struggle. So, you know, because, you know, the economy stuff out here, man, we got to make money, we got to pay the bills and stuff. That about does it for me in this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take it easy, guys.